Hey, welcome to A Glimpse into My Moment. It's been a little while, and it's been a crazy amount of things that have happened in between our last visit, but tonight is strange. I wasn't actually planning on doing a podcast tonight, but I was actually swiping away a few tears as I listened to this song that just made me miss my son who's in heaven quite a bit. Dancing in the Sky. It's really quite beautiful. Have you heard it? In heaven. Is it peaceful? Is it free like they say? Does the sun shine bright forever? Have your fears and your pain gone away? 'Cause here on earth feels like everything good is missing since you left. And here on earth everything's different. There's an emptiness. Oh, I hope you're dancing in the sky. I hope you're singing in the angels' choir. And I hope the angels know what they have. I've been so nice up in heaven since you arrived. So tell me, what do you do up in heaven? Are your days filled with love and light? Is there music? Is there art and invention? Tell me, are you happy? Are you more alive? 'Cause here on earth it feels like everything good is missing since you left. And here on earth everything's different. There's an emptiness. Oh, I hope you're dancing in the sky. I hope you're singing in the angels' choir. And I hope the angels know what they have. I've been so nice up in heaven since you arrived. I hope you're dancing in the sky. And I hope you're singing in the angels' choir. And I hope the angels know what they have. I've been so nice up in heaven since you arrived. Since you arrived. Man, that's hitting me tonight. I didn't plan on playing the entire song, or I didn't plan on crying through the entire song. It's interesting. A lot happened today. Some extreme highs and happies, and then just a really scary moment. Our precious little Maggie dog almost got killed again. Oh, that dog, she has more lives. But it was scary enough that it made me pull over to the side of the road and get out and hug and love on my daughter. And cry. And it kind of triggered my brain back to this entire couple of weeks where it's been just dancing around some PTSD again and locked in traumatic experiences and pulling those traumatic experiences back up to the front. The death of my son, coming up on 18 years ago this October. And the death and birth, so they're twins, identical twins. That moment catapulted us back into a honeymoon cycle. So it has a lot of, importance in my timeline. Things were not good, and then suddenly we were pregnant and they were good, and then they were kind of weird as I had a difficult pregnancy and things were getting weird. I wouldn't say not good, but just weird. I just remember feeling weird. Like, why is he angry? He said he was angry because he was scared, but I just remember kept thinking, like, this is the happiest time of our lives. Why are you angry? And on the day Noah died, he was angry. And then we found out at our ultrasound that Noah had died. Suddenly he wasn't angry anymore. And it catapulted us into about a 3-year honeymoon period. If you've ever been in a cycle of abuse, you know the honeymoon periods well. Right? So that old traumatic experience just popped right back into my brain. And it's just been kind of weighing because there's a lot of new traumatic experiences happening in our region right now, and they hurt. These things happening in our region, the fires that have been in our region that have been absolutely devastating, locked everybody. I'm not singular in this in any way, shape, or form, but locked everybody in trauma mode. And where I live, in the area that I live in, we were everybody on our mountain was packed and ready to evacuate for a number of days. And according to my therapist, just being in that continual state of survival mode, it's a little bit rough on your brain, and it just keeps you in trauma survival area. And for me, it opened the door to some PTSD, sleeplessness, waking with that extreme fear that something's going to happen to you. And I think one of the things that it also did was just bring that idea of tragedy closer to home. And it reopened the grief around the death of my son. It opened my fear as a mom for my children, especially my child who has had suicidal thoughts. It made my anger for my ex increase at just the very fact of being where we're at. Really, nothing new. Just kind of triggered what I thought, some things that I thought I had really, really processed well and set aside and, pulled him close, embraced him, hugged him, acknowledged him, and set him aside. But just living in survival mode, trauma brain for a week and a half or more, having my house broken into. Funny story there. It was broken into. I cleared the house with a gun and a security light, like stupid, blinding security light, right? No one was in here. Nothing was missing. Weird things, though, definitely was broken into. And I find out it was my kids, my boys, with the ex standing in the driveway. And nobody told me. Nobody told me that they forgot a key. Nobody told me that they came in through a window and just made, honestly, kind of a mess. Just felt very incredibly hurt and disrespected, not only by the actions of my children, which was not good, but that through this entire time frame of this regional tragedy of the fires, that I was just continually undermined in the safety of my children, or I felt that I was undermined in the safety of my children, and that breaking into my home, that he thought that was acceptable. And he didn't even have a response when I said that I really didn't appreciate that. It hurt. It hurt my feelings, and that really pissed me off. Because I don't want to have my feelings hurt by somebody who is abusive to me and who I've parked him so far out of my life I don't even have communications with him. And here, this trauma brain reverted me all the way back to a time frame when my son was dying, and I didn't understand why this abusive man was mad at me because I couldn't drive a car anymore, because I was at the end of my first pregnancy with twins, and I wasn't allowed to drive anymore, and he was mad. And so I'm not even sure if this is making sense, but basically 18 years ago, me and me now collided, and all of these little popcorn moments are just flooding me, and it's so freaking irritating. I feel like I'm sliding backward, but I know I'm not. I know that I'm finally admitting some of the things from my past that I didn't before, and processing them in a different way. So dumb. Numb is the best word for how my brain feels. I can't even remember where I left off on the last segment. It's overwhelming to have this new kind of PTSD hitting. I'm not falling off a cliff. That was the first kind. I'm not waking up thinking somebody's trying to kill me. Well, that was maybe the second kind, or 1.5, 1.2. Release 1.2 of PTSD. Jeez. This one is just wrapping me in grief. Every large traumatic thing in my life, right back to my dog getting run over right in front of me when I was just, I don't know, maybe 6 or 7. All of it's just like popping into my head. Oh, like thunder eggs. You know how thunder eggs are made? When a volcano explodes, there's a certain range where thunder eggs, the rock, are created in that explosion, in that fiery lava explosion, and they fly. I have no idea how far, and I used to know that. It was a toddler fact I knew, but I don't know it anymore. Anyway, they fly out, and that they're so violent, and they're red hot, and they just are so dangerous. That is what my brain feels like right now. It feels like everything that I've ever grieved, everything that has ever been incredibly precious to me, is like red hot rocks hitting me. And it's a hard spot to be locked in. And it's even weird to talk about. Often I usually talk about overcoming. But this is more just talking about the reality of being stuck right where you're at. And I suppose I treat my podcast a lot like a journal. It helps me to move through. I think I've even gotten hung up a little bit this week and last week on other people. Right? The proverbial other people. I'm using air quotes. I thought a while ago in this process of divorce and breaking a cycle, I thought that I had kind of parked and set aside or given up on the people who don't want to believe that my relationship is what it is. And for some reason, I think those are the same people who discount. I think that is why. I just figured it out. The people who don't want to say that this marriage was unhealthy are the same people who discount Noah like he wasn't real because he didn't take a breath. Because he was born still, they don't want to recognize that he was a human, that he affected lives and he lived. Fuck. Dumb. They're the same people who hide from suicidal conversations. Fuck, my kid said he was suicidal, and I didn't know what to do. God. 12, 13, 14 years old in full rage. And I couldn't figure out why. God, it just makes me so angry. I can see why now. But nobody talks about it. Nobody talks about those dirty, ugly secrets. They're so shameful. Screw that. They're not shameful. Everybody should be talking about those things because those are the things that matter. Getting through those things are what allow you to step up and begin living. I wish that somebody had talked to me when I had suicidal thoughts as a teenager. I wish I wouldn't have thought I was a freak. I wish I'd had a safe place to turn. I wish I would have understood when my son was in so much pain and anguish. I wish I could have understood that better so that I could have helped him sooner. Thankfully, I finally figured out that I accepted that I was in a very, very, very emotionally, verbally, mentally, digitally, financially, sexually, not in the way of rape. I'll just let you read about that kind of abuse on your own. Anyway, I wish that I would have figured that out sooner, accepted it, spoke out about it, stopped it sooner to help him sooner. Holy hell. I am just feeling that. I'm feeling so much guilt right now for not helping him, having lost his brother. Total freak accident that Noah died. He just got tangled in his umbilical cord and it looped around his neck 4 times, and he just slowly grew into it, and he died. And with that knowledge, with it being delivered to me, that knowledge that he had died, that person I was, that girl I was, died. And for 2 to 3 years, I was just in this darkness. And then my little Elijah, my googly-eyed baby, was born. And even to this day, he is the sweetest googly-eyed thing, and he just knows how to get his needs met just like he did when he was a baby, and he's amazing. They are all amazing. So individual. After that was Gideon and then Sarah. But it's interesting. I keep saying that tonight, but I haven't bought music. I haven't listened to music. I don't listen to music. I don't read books right now either. But a couple nights ago, I had a gift card for some music online, and so I downloaded some music. And then I kind of got hooked, right? Music is lovely and wonderful, just like books are lovely and wonderful. But they also make you feel. And allowing ourselves to feel. My therapist and I talked about that after the kids' session, like opening up those boxes of feelings and actually embracing and admitting all of the things that you want to hide. That's where you'll get your power back. Maybe that's why I'm doing this post tonight, or this podcast tonight. Maybe it's to try and get my power back, to try and talk through all this disgusting stuff in this person that I am. I don't even know why I feel like this, other than it's just the trauma loves trauma, right? Just stuck in a loop, in a cycle. I did emerge from the darkness of having my son born still. I had a beautiful baby boy that came home that day from the hospital. And Isaiah became my everything. And then it came Elijah. And Isaiah and Elijah consumed me. And a couple years later came Gideon. And Gideon was 110% mom's. Isaiah was grandpa's. And Eli was the grandma's. And Gideon was mine. And by the time Gideon came around, I think I was truly not done grieving, but my grieving had shifted. And I was not terrified. My entire pregnancy with Eli, I was terrified that Eli was going to die. So it was weird. But then came Gideon, and Gideon loved his mama. And he still loves his mama. And then came Sarah. And Sarah is my mini. A girl. I was never so terrified. I knew how to have boys, but girls? Yikes. And she is absolutely 110% me. Only 1,000,000 times better. It's pretty amazing to look at your children and to see you, but to also see you in better versions. I'm very, very blessed, very, very lucky, feeling a lot better. I have no idea if I'm going to post this or not. Sometimes those are the most powerful ones when you don't know if you're going to post them. It's really hard to allow yourself to become open enough to feel, to grieve, to process, to be traumatized. It hurts to be so vulnerable in your own mind, to have every direction, every way that you look be something banging on your head. And I think today, when we almost lost Maggie again, it was just a little bit too much for me to be silent anymore. I'm not sure why I stopped doing my podcasts for a little while. Part of it is just finding a quiet space. But I really love doing them. They're really invaluable to me. They help. All right, my friends. Thank you guys for joining. I have a podcast on financial abuse coming up. I actually was going to do it first, but I feel like this one is a little bit more valuable right at this moment. And just be safe. Hug your lovies. And tell people what you think, what you feel. Don't hold it in, because you just don't know how much time you have. Right? You don't know what's going to change or what's going to happen. So take advantage of every minute that you have with people that you love. You won't regret it. You won't regret telling somebody your honest, heartfelt truth. Doesn't matter if they return it or not. What matters is that you sleep better at night knowing that you told somebody how special they are. Until next time, be safe.